Hi, I'm Tafana Thomas, the Community Relations Coordinator for New Hanover County Schools. This is Partners in Education, where we chat with members from our community who are stepping up to make our incredible school system even better and brighter. Businesses and organizations across the county have joined with schools, and today we feature one of those partnerships. With me now is Katrina Knight from the Good Shepherd Center. Welcome, Katrina.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, can you start by telling us a little bit about the Good Shepherd Center and why you partner with schools?
Sure. So this is our 36th year existing right here in New Hanover County.
Wow, close to 40.
Almost, nearing our 40th anniversary. So we do a lot of different things, provide a lot of different services. Everything we do falls under either addressing hunger or homelessness. So we encounter K through 12 students a couple of different ways. Sometimes they belong to families who are in need of services from us, and sometimes they are coming to Good Shepherd as a kind of learning, service learning opportunity, to kind of combine what they're learning in the classroom or after school with opportunities to serve others within our programs.
Okay, wonderful. So now, to help us learn a little bit more about the Good Shepherd Center partnership with schools, we have this brief presentation. When we come back, we'll chat a little bit more with Katrina.
So this is a little bit about Good Shepherd Center and our work with New Hanover County Schools. New Hanover County Schools is a key partner in really all of Good Shepherd's efforts. First, of course, we serve homeless children. In our most recent fiscal year, which ended June 30th, we had sheltered 48 children and their families who found themselves in a housing crisis for a period of time, anywhere from a couple of days to a handful of months, where they needed a safe place to come and kind of regroup, get back on their feet before they would return to housing again. We transitioned 24 families, which included 40 children of K through 12 age, from our homeless shelter back to housing out in the community. School social workers all throughout the county are really key in this effort, as well as a staff member who we look to as the McKinney-Vento liaison. That person who works for the county, she works with us to ensure that our shelter's children, they continue their schooling is uninterrupted even though their family is in crisis. So making sure that they are connected to counseling if they need it, transportation from the shelter to and from school each day, accessing the school supplies they need, all those different kinds of things that help that child feel bolstered, and again, that prevents them from having an interruption in their schooling in addition to their families experiencing a housing crisis. We also, of course, like to host service learning opportunities for K through 12 students, and Good Shepherd is a wonderful setting for that. We usually start with age-appropriate shelter tours, and we combine those with on and off-site service opportunities. We've had more than 20 school groups come and visit and volunteer with us on an annual basis, typically, and that's across all age groups, from elementary schoolers to middle schoolers to seniors doing their senior projects. And these are just a few examples. Preparing and serving a soup kitchen meal, usually at dinner time, to the single folks and the families who've sought shelter with us for the night. Some students collect food for us within their communities, within their parents' workplaces, or sometimes at school. They might come just for a day or a couple of hours to help beautify the grounds. And sometimes they conceive of fundraisers completely on their own, where one elementary school, the children there hosted a lemonade stand for a handful of years and raised money that they then donated to Good Shepherd to use in our services to homeless students and their families. These are just some of the schools within New Hanover County that have helped Good Shepherd in one way or another. So as you can see, it's really a cross-section of all the different places where our kids go to school. And again, here are a couple of specific examples. Williston Middle, these students for a handful of years have come and participated in a walk or a kids-focused service day on a Saturday, where we really emphasize both through education and service opportunities, kind of a focus on what it is to be homeless as a student, as a child, what that's like for a homeless family, and Good Shepherd's effort, not just to help those families for a period of days or months, but really to see them back to a stable housing situation again. On the right here, we have just one example of the kind of in-kind collections that students do for us. And in this case, an after-school program undertook a clothing drive for us that was hugely helpful. A couple more examples, we host high school senior projects where students may host a collection of items that we need out in the community, but then pair that with service or education on site. And then younger children, collecting items and learning about the needs of homeless or hungry children in class, but again in an age-appropriate way, is a great way to get younger children started learning and thinking about how they can, regardless of their age, be a participant in the community and make an effort in improving the quality of life for all students of all ages. Just highlighting one partnership, and that would be Roland Grice Middle. AIG and honor students this year, under the leadership of gifted education specialist Kendra Harrison, have researched and discussed issues of homelessness and poverty. They've come for a tour of the shelter and soup kitchen so they can see firsthand what it is that we're providing as our services. Sometimes seeing it firsthand makes the educational piece and the service more meaningful, but it also sometimes raises new questions for students that we can try to answer. They also planned and implemented a Socktober event where they collected literally hundreds of pairs of socks, which are hugely helpful for our homeless guests. And they're actually coming back to us this month to assist in a food distribution effort to hungry seniors, families, and folks with disabilities who we are trying to arm with food to take home and to be able to prepare healthy, well-balanced meals, even at those hours that we don't see them down at the soup kitchen. Again, here some photos highlighting this partnership. These are the students who participated in the Socktober drive for Good Shepherd, and in those bags are some of the socks and other very practical items that they collected for our homeless guests. We like to emphasize, service is important, giving of yourself is an important element, but we always love and especially prize opportunities to make it true service learning. We want it to be relevant and meaningful service for the community, and we really look for opportunities within Good Shepherd where they're not just being helpful to the organization, they are truly engaging in an activity that is readily understood as helpful to that hungry person or that homeless family who has come to us. We want it to be very purposeful in nature, and we want to work with teachers to incorporate lessons or reading or discussions within the classroom that enhance that experience and really tie the two together. An event that we're looking forward to this spring is Kids Fest Fun Run. And again, an emphasis on ending childhood homelessness, so very age-appropriate learning opportunities, but really a fun day for kids, their teachers, their families to come together at Hugh McRae Park, raise some funds specifically for the homeless families that we are serving, both in our sheltering and our rehousing opportunities, and again, an opportunity just to experience themselves as givers in the community, regardless of their age. And we just want to thank New Hanover County Schools for all the different ways that staff and teachers and students really make possible the work that we do. We want to be a different kind of shelter, one that serves people in their time of crisis, but that truly achieves some meaningful outcomes in returning homeless children and their families back to housing, back to health, back to stability out in the community. And we would be very hard pressed to do that without such a wonderful partner as New Hanover County Schools.
And welcome back. And what an awesome presentation, great things that Good Shepherd does with New Hanover County Schools. So as an organization, why do you feel it's important to partner with public education?
Well, again, our role is kind of dual in nature. We really think it's important, and we're so grateful that the county does too, that homeless children, that their schooling is uninterrupted. It is so important for that child, their self-esteem, and of course, that so that they don't lose any ground educationally, that we work with New Hanover County Schools to make sure that they continue to go to school even while they're staying at the shelter. And so first and foremost, that's really front of mind for us, is what do we need to do to make sure that this child isn't out of school for a month, 3 months, 6 months. So that's been a wonderful working relationship. The other piece of it, where we are essentially a host to K through 12 students, regardless of their age, it's just wonderful to see all the creativity that students have in terms of their ideas for different fundraisers they can do, for different ways that they can collect items and bring them in. Sometimes the most fun and interesting thing for us is to host a group of students from a class, from an after-school program. Sometimes it's the SGA leaders from a certain elementary school, for them to come down and again take an age-appropriate tour and to see that some of their peers, some people they know, sometimes people in their own family, are going to experience crises in their lives, and there are services out there for them. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or scary. We can help give them context for that, but also, again, offer them opportunities to feel like givers and experience themselves as important human beings who have something to offer others, to improve others' lives.
That's a good segue to my next question. So how do you think students benefit from the partnership, or how do you think they're impacted by it?
Probably some of the most inspiring things I've ever read have been, speaking of service learning, have been the writings of students, again, from all different ages, when a teacher has post-visit, post-tour, post-service, offered them an opportunity to write about their experience, where they, in such articulate ways, talk about, I didn't know what to imagine, or I thought it was going to be a dreary or scary kind of place, but actually I can see that it's kind of a home away from home. I can see how if my family needed a safe place to go for a while, that it would be a temporary but good place for my family, even as we stayed together and regrouped to try to get back to that next good place for ourselves. They have great questions. They have questions that sometimes we don't know to anticipate, but that are very thoughtful about, why can't folks afford housing in Wilmington? That's a big question for all of us, right? And so, it's not always real easy, little basic kinds of questions. They're really deep. They're very thoughtful sometimes, and they keep us on our toes to have to try to explain, why it is that we have so many children and families and veterans and seniors who may fall into housing crisis from time to time, and how together, including with students, we can work to help those folks up and out of their crisis and back to a better place again.
Wow, great. So what does the future hold for the partnership? Do you expect to do anything different or anything fresh, or pretty much keep things the same?
Well, honestly, we are so fortunate to have so many different schools offering to send students or asking to bring students for a tour or an experience that, it can feel like an embarrassment of riches sometimes, right? We've got kids in the building all the time. And so that's wonderful. We would be grateful just to continue that. Something that we started a handful of years ago that we've really tried to build up as a special opportunity has been an event that happens in May at Hugh McRae Park, that Kids Fest that we mentioned, where kids of all ages, whether with their parents or as a group of students or as a club, can come out, learn a little bit, but have a lot of fun, and in the process be raising funds specific to our work with homeless families. And so that's been, sometimes fundraisers and special events are very adult focused.
Right.
Lots of parties in this town that are really for grown-ups to dress up and go somewhere, into the late evenings, late hours of the evening.
That is true.
And so it's been a nice opportunity to extend an offer that is very accessible to kids of all ages. And we've seen some teachers really want to get involved, some school staff get involved. It really, it's appealing to lots of different folks, again, to come out that day and really shine a light on family homelessness. And I think really the fact that whether you're talking about that or our other efforts that we bring students into, that these can seem like heavy topics, but honestly, together, we show that it's not really as heavy an undertaking, that together we can improve things for each other as neighbors, and students have a vital role in that.
Right. Well, that is awesome. Wonderful. So I'd like to thank Katrina for being here today and for all that Good Shepherd does with New Hanover County Schools to support our schools and our students. If you're a community member, business, or organization that would like to partner with the school in our system, please contact me by email at tafana.thomas@nhcs.net, or you can call me at 254-4319.